When they asked him if he really was the Antichrist, his face changed and he wanted to end the interview immediately. Many are saying that he is the man of sin. Social media exploded with theories that Donald Trump would be the Antichrist because of his global influence, his power of mobilization, and his controversial actions on the world stage. I looked at these accusations and decided to investigate. I observed Trump's actions and compared them with what the Bible says about the Antichrist. And what I discovered will surprise both those who support him and those who criticize him. Stay until the end, because the last point of analysis is what defines everything. Let's start with the basics. To understand why this theory has gained so much strength, we need to look at the signs that the world is seeing. In the Holy Scriptures, the Antichrist is described as a charismatic leader, an unbeatable negotiator who arises in a moment of chaos. And when we look at the Abraham Accords in the Middle East, mediated by Trump, many scholars were asking themselves, could he bring peace where no one else has succeeded? Added to this, we have a base of followers with a loyalty rarely seen in modern history. These arguments seem convincing at first glance and shine in the eyes of those who seek signs of the end. But now, let's move to our first stress test of this theory and see if it will survive. Let's test the origin. The Bible, in the books of Daniel and Revelation, gives us geographical clues and lineages about the emergence of this leader called the Antichrist. The sacred text points to an origin linked to the rebirth of a system that refers back to the ancient Roman Empire, often interpreted as a coalition of European or Middle Eastern nations. Donald Trump, on the other hand, is the pinnacle of American nationalism. He himself says, "America first." There is an incompatibility here that we cannot ignore. The Antichrist seeks a unified and centralized global government where he will rule over everything, while Trump's platform is the fragmentation of this globalism in favor of national sovereignty. When we confront this fact with the scriptures, the theory begins to lose strength. The geographical and systemic equation does not match perfectly. But that is not all. We are only at the first test. I decided to go a little further, and what I found next may change everything. Let's go straight to the test of character and language. The prophet Daniel describes the Antichrist as someone who has a mouth that speaks arrogantly and who utters blasphemies against the Most High. Here, Trump's critics find what they are looking for, and there is no way to ignore it at all. For Trump's communication style is, by definition, confrontational and egocentric, and that cannot be denied. He presents himself as the only one capable of solving systemic global problems. But here is a point that needs attention, because there is a detail that people forget. The biblical Antichrist is described as someone who deceives the nations through a false humility and an initially simulated peace, becoming an absolute tyrant afterward. But if we look at Trump, he has never hidden his style. He is transparent even to a fault. He does not hide who he truly is. He does not need to be likable to gain trust. He did not start out kind and then become evil, as the Antichrist will do. Trump has been verbally aggressive since the first day. The profile we are analyzing is quite similar, but the internal essence is different from what the prophecy describes about the nature of the final deception. But there is still a detail that few observe, and I made a point of observing it, and I found something that is not easily found in a president, and that was enough to reach my conclusion. This then is the real proof. This defines it once and for all, and answers our doubt about whether Trump is or is not the Antichrist. The clearest sign in the scriptures is that the Antichrist denies that Jesus Christ came in the flesh, denies the Father and the Son, and eventually rises up against every object of worship, demanding worship for himself within the temple. Here the theory suffers its greatest blow. Trump, strategically or by conviction, deeply aligned himself with the conservative Christian base, defends religious symbols, and frequently appeals to divine protection in his speeches. The Antichrist does not protect religion in any way. He destroys it in order to become the sole focus of worship. The only religion the Antichrist supports is the worship of himself. If you observe carefully, Trump's posture does not align with the total denial of God that the final figure must present. After going through all these points of investigation, What is the verdict? Is Donald Trump the Antichrist? The conclusion, based on a rigorous analysis of the original text, is that although he possesses characteristics of a strong and polarizing leader who alters the course of many nations, what the Bible calls figures that prefigure what is to come, he lacks crucial theological elements to be the final figure of Revelation. We are facing a historical figure of great impact, but one who does not fulfill all the requirements of the final prophetic description.
Well, my friends, after this analysis, I already have my final verdict. Donald Trump is not approved. He didn't pass the tests. For that reason, he cannot be the Antichrist. Since the time of the apostles, they've always been trying to figure out who the Antichrist is. Anyone who stands out, like Donald Trump is standing out now, they accuse of being the Antichrist or the beast or the false prophet, something like that. Because this person gains relevance in any decision they make, they draw similarities between that person and the Antichrist. They've already done this with governors from the Roman Empire era in the time of the apostles, and it's been that way until today. Now, I want to call your attention to something very serious. Prophecy doesn't exist to make us hunt for culprits all the time, whether in politics or some celebrity or some prominent person. We're doing this on a practically weekly basis, constantly searching for someone to blame. The Bible teaches us to stay incredibly watchful and alert about our own spirituality. Today, through social media, it's very easy to get distracted by loud figures and forget that the true sign is the cooling of love and the abandonment of faith. I am truly very grateful you took the time to analyze this full video with me all the way until the very end before jumping to any quick conclusions based only on mainstream newspaper headlines and the news you see out there every day. Given everything that was discussed here in this video, what do you think then? Is Donald Trump just a reflection of the confusing times we're living in? Or do you firmly believe there's still something concealed deep within that our analysis was unable to uncover? What do you think? What's your opinion on this matter? Share your thoughts and opinions in the comments below, and make sure you remember to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss any of the upcoming deep dive investigations we'll be doing here. So stay with God. A big hug, and until the next video, bye-bye.